Illiterati is a co-op 1 to 5 player word game, where you have this secret organization called the Illiterati and they're trying to destroy books, with the ultimate goal to spread illiteracy. And it's your job to prevent that by creating and binding books. Illiterati is the new game by Gap Closer Games. I'd like to thank the publisher for sending me this review copy, thank you so much guys. And I believe this is their second game, the first one being Rival Restaurants. I haven't played that one yet, but I want to try it at some point though. So in this game you're pulling letters out of a bag, and then you're building words within a given theme, or with some kind of limitation, and you're doing all this in a 3-minute timer. And so you're trying to build words, trying to fulfill conditions on either one of these red books or the blue books. At the beginning of the game you're given one of these red books, and the red books have all sorts of themes and categories. So colors, foods, money and finance terms, things smaller than a dime. So yeah, there's all sorts of things here. And while the blue books don't have any kind of category, they have some conditions. So equal number of vowels and consonants, start and end with the same letter, synonyms. And once you're finished with a book of a given color, you then take a book of the other color and try to fulfill it. And to be able to bind the book, you need to fulfill its conditions. Over here we have foods, so you need to create words related to foods with 8 or plus letters. So you have to create words that's the total amount of letters between all the words need to be 8 or more letters. And it needs to have these symbols. So the letters, they have some kind of symbol. Over here, for example, we need this at least 3 cloud symbols. Once you have this, you'll then discard all the words related to foods and you fulfill this card. You then set it aside and take one of the other color to fulfill. And depending on the difficulty level you're playing at, there's a certain amount of books you need to bind. So if you're playing at the normal difficulty, you need to bind 2 books. Then all of you as a group take one last card and try to fulfill the final chapter, which is this section on the right. So you ignore the space on the left and you only look at this section. This is a much harder version of the normal book you need to work with. It follows the same rules, but each player needs to fulfill this individually. And of course you can all help each other and share letters and whatnot. At the end of every round, the Illiterati will attack. You draw one of these cards, and it's usually something bad you need to deal with. So this one reads, each player must discard 2 letters with any symbol. And once you all manage to fulfill the final chapter, congratulations, you win the game. So I really like word games, and this is no different, but being a co-op game, this is definitely one of those games one player can absolutely quarterback. And that's not half bad in this game, because sometimes I'm having trouble coming up with a word related to my theme, and this other player tells me, oh, you can make that. I mean, oh yeah, great, I appreciate it. But for those of you who don't like to take any suggestions, be mindful that it may happen in this game, it has a very high potential for that. One other thing is that some categories on these red books are clearly easier than others. So we've got body parts here. So head, nose, eyes, mouth, hands, feet, knee, you get it. So holidays and events. So Easter, Halloween, Christmas, birthday. I'm actually having trouble coming up with more of these on the fly. So foods, easy. Money and finance terms, not so easy. Colors, easy. Things smaller than a dime, easy. Countries, easy. Modes of transportation, easy. Weapons and military terms, might not be so easy. You get it. And other times, even with an easy category such as animals, my brain doesn't want to cooperate. So cat, dog, giraffe, elephant. Man, I know more animals than this. And you just brain freeze because you have to work with the letters that are in front of you. And there's one thing I dislike, which is this 3-minute timer. I get it, you're not supposed to have all the time in the world, but 3 minutes, it's just brutal. And sometimes it's more than enough, but more often than not, it will not be enough. And you don't actually need to make words within your theme or restriction, you can just make up any word just to make it through the round. As long as it's a word with 3 or more letters. And lastly, I want to say something that's not going to be a critic, it's just going to be an observation. Which is, if you pick this up and you play this in some language other than English, it might not work, due to the letter distribution. Because I'm hoping that this game was balanced for the English vocabulary. And so the amounts of each letter in here will probably reflect that. I've played this in English, it works of course, and I've played this in my native language, and it also works. But depending on which language you want to play, it might not. And even if I'm playing in English, there are some categories that I have to refer to where I live. So restaurants and fast food chains. While most fast food chains will definitely cross over, for restaurants, yes, I definitely have to refer to what's around me. And again, this is not an issue, it's just an observation. So, final thoughts. This is a wordsmithing game at its heart, so if you like word games, yeah, you're probably going to like this. For me, it does have some issues I mentioned earlier, like the 3-minute timer and some red book categories being easier than others, but other than that, it's very fun, very light, simple game. You can play this with anyone, but at the end of the day, I really like this, so for me, it's a solid 7.5 out of 10. And we're done, so thanks for watching, and until next time.